afternoon, fret friends. We have an absolute beauty on the bench this afternoon. New project, new client, new project. And I've never owned one of these guitars, and I've always wanted one, or I've always liked the idea of getting one. And it's an ESP Ltd EC-1000 Deluxe. And what can you say about this? Everything about this guitar for me is right. Would I have that colour? I don't know, but I do love this colour. It's amazing, isn't it? Made in Korea, of course. I would imagine this would be made at, is it World International Music? It's got a W serial number on there. They make guitars for everyone. Anyway, what a beautiful thing. Just seen the sticker on the back there. Tone Pro's locking bridge system equipped. So you've already got quality there. Tone Pro locking bridge. Lock-in tailpiece. You'll have probably EMG 8581 set, is it? Is it 8581? Something like that. That's what I love. Abalone inlays all the way around the body, all the way around the neck, with binding on the neck and headstock. Very reminiscent of the Vandenberg style PV guitars which were made a few years ago, which I've had a couple. Stunning guitars. I've actually let a couple go and I wish I hadn't, but that's another story. I would imagine mahogany body, mahogany neck, rosewood fingerboard. You're definitely going to have a maple top on this. There's lock-in tuners. Doesn't say the brand, so they'll probably be made for ESP. What a beautiful guitar. And I already know that this needs a fret level, because when the client bought it in, we went across with fret rocker and they're about 8 to 9 high frets or rocking frets. So definitely in for a fret level and a setup. What a stunning guitar this is. I've not plugged it in yet. I am going to plug it in and have a little play about with it. Compensated nut on there. I considered replacing that, but I imagine that's graphite, so it'll be pretty alright. It's a compensated nut anyway. Not really my cup of tea. Are they necessary? Touch and go, isn't it? I'm quite happy to set my intonation on the bridge myself. Nice big chunky frets on this, plenty of life left in them, so we don't need to replace them. We will just level them, recrown them and polish them. And the setup, that's really going to be it. I'm going to enjoy tinkering about with this one, and I'm certainly going to enjoy playing it. So that is it. Just wanted to introduce the guitar, get this video underway, and that is it. So next time I come back, I would have had a look at the frets. I imagine I'm going to do a setup. In fact, I'm going to check the setup as it is, with the old strings on, just to check everything's about where it wants to be. Once that's done, we're going to remove the strings and we're going to take a look at the frets. Welcome back, fret friends. We have a new camera angle today. It's because I'm working on my second bench, and there's a reason for me working on this bench today. It's because there's a shelf in front of me, and on that shelf I can have my iPad, and on my iPad I can watch things, or I can have something on, or I can check anything I need to check right in front of me, whilst having a guitar all set up ready to work on. It just makes sense today because I do have a spotlight shining down on the work area as well. This is normally the table or the bench I work on at night time, because the light is not great in this room, and using daylight absolutely fine, but it's a bit overcast today, it's a bit dark. We've been sent back from Royal Mail today. There's no mail to deliver because of a flood at one of the depots. So we went in, we did a little bit around the office, and they've sent us home. So I have a free day today. I mean, that does have a drawback. It also means instead of having my day off Saturday, I'm going to actually work my day off Saturday. But that's okay. I've not been asked to do it. I volunteered to do it. Ask for volunteers if you want to come in on this Saturday when we normally, because I normally have a Saturday off this week. So anyway, that aside, back to the guitar. We have the not straight edge on the neck, and we have the neck dead straight. Something I said I was doing on the last video, or last part of the last bit of a video you saw. I said I was going to check the setup offline while not filming it, and I did check the setup. The setup was pretty much spot on. There are a couple of nut slots need recutting because they are a little bit high. The intonation was a tiny bit out on 1 or 2 strings, that was it, but everything else was pretty much set pretty nice, barring the relief in the neck. So I was quite happy with the setup. The intonation's now all set, ready for when I put new strings on. I've removed a nut, you probably can't see it from where you are. I've removed the nut, I've straightened the neck by altering the truss rod, dead straight, and we're going to go across. I don't know what you can see from where you are, but let's just get the not straight edge on there. And this neck is dead straight, and it is virtually with the truss rod. It's a 2-way truss rod, it's a dual action. and basically, or almost, it's not quite loose in the middle where it ought to be to get a straight neck, but it's just nipped up probably 1/8 of a turn clockwise, just to tighten everything up and get the neck dead straight. And I'm happy that that neck is dead straight. Just to make sure, I'm going to make sure we're not touching that neck pickup. So I'm going to drop that into the body a little bit. It is a case of measure twice, cut once, even when setting the neck. I tend to measure more than twice before I cut anything. You've got to be bang on with guitars. You make a mistake, it's normally a costly repair. So, not straight edge on the guitar. That is a straight neck. Very happy with that. So that is where I'm going to level the frets. So what we're going to do is we are going to get a marker pen and a fret rocker. We all know how a fret rocker works, but let me explain to those who don't. Fret rocker has 4 lengths. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are milled perfectly flat. So now the reason we have 4 different lengths is we only need to check 3 frets at a time. Because if we check 3 and 1 is high, we'll get a rock. Listen. And as we move it across the neck, we turn, so we can just always do 3 frets. And this way, like so. So you're always checking 3 frets. So I'm going to grab a marker pen and we're going to go across the frets. And we already know fret 2 is rocking because we've just placed the fret rocker on there and you heard it. So let's go. So in areas 1 and 2. 1 is closest to you, 2 is the centre, 3 is closest to me. So just in case I want to make a key later on. Or a map just to write things down. No matter how slight the rock, a rock is a rock. I did check the frets with the client here. I think we had 8 frets, 8 high frets. We've got 4 already in the first 7. But let that all worries. It doesn't matter if they're off 12 or 15. We're going to level them all anyway. Very nice guitar this. I love his guitars. This is a deluxe version. I don't know how the deluxe version differs from the regular version. Maybe it's the compensated nut, the Tone Pros lock-in bridge. Maybe that's the only difference, I don't know. If I bought one of these, I would get the Evertune one with AMGs. The Evertune system is something I've only ever seen once. Brought to me by Lawnmower Death guitarist. He's got an Evertune system on one of these guitars. What a fantastic piece of kit. Oh, this one's really high. That's going to be causing problems. Wow. We're going to tap that down with a mallet just to make sure it's not seated right. But we do have a lot of high frets here. But the Evertune system, if you don't know what it is, go and check it out. It's a system. It's a bridge. And when you set it, it's all spring loaded and everything. But once it's set, no matter what you do, even if you drop your guitar, it will not go out of tune. You can stretch your strings as much as you want, it will not go out of tune. And if I had an option on one of these guitars, I'd go and buy one with the Evertune system. Wow, there are a lot of high frets. A lot more than I measured when the owner was here. though we are not too bad at the dusty end. Saying that, we've got one just there. Last one. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 frets with high spots. I'm wondering if I can just get to show you that on camera. They're all marked off in pen, black pen. Just going to remove some gubbins out of the way, and I think I'll be able to show. Just by removing my supports there, and I'm going to tip the guitar. You'll see anyway because I've got the spotlight on the guitar. So let me just get the guitar in a position where I can show you. And there you go. All those frets with black pen on there are the areas that need leveling. You see there's quite a few there. So I'm going to get everything set. In fact, it pretty much is set where I am right now. So I've got a lead plugged in. I've been playing this guitar this morning. It's beautiful. It sounds fantastic. But there you are. So we have everything ready to level the frets. I'm going to do it with, I'm actually going to spot level them with a file first. My favourite levelling file at the moment is this one I got from Chris Allsop on eBay. It's a diamond file, 300 grit, super flat, great piece of kit, removes a lot of material and it does the job fantastically. I'm also going to check the radius because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go across with a radius beam to finish off later. Before I go filing anything, I'm going to lower the pickups right into the body. I'm going to cover the pickups with Scotch 3M low tack tape. This gubbins here, blah 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 blah, just so we don't get any sand dust or any filings in there. Keep everything tidy. I'll be dropping the three-way switch into the guitar body as well. In fact, I'll remove the back plate and we'll sink it right in because I'm going to need to be working this area with files later on. So I'll be taping up this area as well. So while I crack on with that, getting everything ready for the work, you go make yourself a cup of tea or whatever it is, or you know, just come back in a bit. So back over to my main setup bench for leveling the frets. I have a key written down here with fret numbers followed by numbers underneath to correspond to what part of a fret we need to bring down. I've got, for instance, I've got fret 2 and I've got 1 and 2. That's area 1, middle's area 2, closest to me is area 3. Then we'll go to fret 13, which is here, and I'll have areas 2 and 3. So it all makes complete sense. Fret 14, area 1, and they're the areas that are marked off. I'm going to be using, as mentioned before, my Chris Allsop fret leveling file. I think this is about £26 delivered. Fantastic piece of kit, perfectly level, 300 grit diamond, and it just does the job. It will remove a lot of material. Now, how this works is I'm removing material from areas marked on my key and areas marked in black. Now, it's not a permanent marker, so it very easily rubs off. That's why I write a key down as well. One of the reasons like I said, I'm going to be removing material just from the areas that need it at the moment. Now, I'll know I've removed enough material once this gets easy to move, because once they're all level, it'll glide across all of them. It won't really remove material from the frets that don't need it, because it's just going to take the high spots off. It will remove a very, very tiny, almost immeasurable amount, as is to be expected. But it glides smoother once the frets are level. And that makes complete sense, I'm sure it does. So I'm just going to follow the areas according to the key I've written down here. And I'll just do a little, then I'll move on. But what I'll do is every short while I will take a fret rocker and I'll just come and check what I've done, and already the first two are level. First three are level. We'll always wipe the file I'm not pressing down hard on it, very, very light presses. Let the file do the work. We've already up to fret 9. And this was a really, really high one. So a little bit high on 18, so a little bit high on 22. I think we should find that that is pretty much done. 18 and 22 again. Very good. Very good. Very good. So I'm going to check all of the frets corresponding to the numbers I have written down. Looks pretty good so far. And that is all good. So now, according to that, all the frets are level. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the pen again. I'm going to level the lot with a leveling beam. I'm doing them all in one go. I could have had the fingerboard taped up, but I tend not to do it when I'm doing the leveling. I take it up for when I'm doing the crowning and the polishing, which I'll be doing the crowning next. But now what we're doing with these frets is we have put scratch lines this way across all the frets, and we're going to polish them out by polishing them that way. We can't do that until we've crowned the frets. By crown I mean what we've done is, because we've flattened the tops, we need to rebuild that crown going that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove material from the edges until we rebuild that crown right up. I do have a special tool for doing that. I used to use a 3-cornered file years ago with safe edges or ground edges, and I'd basically file over and roll the file over from each side until we rebuild that curve. But you don't have to do that nowadays. Stumac came out with a file called a Z file. It's a fantastic piece of kit, and it's a file that will file both sides at varying degrees. Shortcut on one side, a long cut on the other side, and you turn it 180 degrees and it does the complete opposite, but it will not touch the top of the frets. So that in effect leaves you that nice thin line down the centre of the top, which builds that crown for you. Then you just finish off with a profiling file to remove any burrs, and it's fantastic. Even though I've explained that, you probably don't know what I'm talking about, so I'll show you more about that when I get the files out. But here we go, back to levelling. I have all of the frets covered in marker pen again. I'm going to take a precision straight edge, this being a piece of 2 by 1 inch steel box section, ground perfectly flat with some 240 grit sandpaper on there. This has been used a few times, but this will last a while. And because we already levelled the frets, we're just going to check with this, and within a few strokes, if we remove all the pen in a few strokes, we know we've got all of the frets level. If there's any pen left, we know we've not got them all exactly level. So let's just give it a go. Backwards and forwards motion, not pressing down, just let the beam do the work. Be careful to follow the radius, not the contours of the neck. We don't follow the neck, we follow the radius. So as I get here, we're going to be overlapping there, and that is following the radius. Anyway, there you go, just a few strokes. And all of the pen, bar this small area here, is gone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this. I'm going to turn it around and just try and find. It means we're going to have one high fret down here somewhere. So I'm going to check just down this edge, just to see if we have one high fret anywhere. Just got a little bit of pen there. It normally says there's one high fret somewhere. I think it might be this one. There you go, there's the one, that's a culprit. 14, I thought it might be. So I'm going to go back on 14. I It's not loose, so that's good. So let's just check 14 again. Still a little high. Be the one. And there you go. So that should now be level. Sure to go across all of the frets. And that is all of the pen gone. So the frets are now level all the way across. We may have taken a little bit more off this side than we have this side, but what I'm going to do is we're going to take a radius beam in a minute, or a radius block with some paper on, and we're going to do exactly the same as we've just done with the levelling beam. I'm going to pen them up again, and then we're going to go across with a 12-inch radius beam with sandpaper already on it. And it should, in effect, just take 1 or 2 passes for all of the pen to be removed. If that is the case, we've maintained the radius and we've got all the frets level. I'm going to check fret 14 just to make sure it's suited perfectly right. It may be wobbling, and that's why it's just giving us a bit of a problem there. You can almost tell by the sound, but that feels good, and it is not rocking. So that is good. So we take a 12-inch radius block now. If I have one to hand. There you go. Already has sandpaper on it. Unfortunately it has 240 grit on it, but that's okay. I would have preferred it if it had 400 grit, because we're going to go across with 400 grit and smooth everything off. So I'm going to stand up again, but this has been used so it's not too rough, and we're just going to go just to maintain that radius. And we've still got a little bit of pen at this end, but all down here the radius is perfectly matched along the whole length. just down this end, and there you go. I'm perfectly happy with that. And now we've got the radius maintained along the whole length. Just to check, we'll take a radius gauge and we'll try and balance it on top of the frets. And there you go, match radius. That is beautiful. So good stuff. We have maintained the radius across the whole length of the neck. The frets are all now level. Now we have flattened off all of the frets. So we're going to, like I say, we're going to rebuild that crown. I'm going to get everything set up. We're going to tape up the whole fingerboard and just leaving the frets exposed just so I can work on just the frets. And if I do slip with a file, I'm not going to mark any of the wood or any of the fingerboard. So still quite a bit of work to do. Give me a few minutes and I'll bring you back soon. Moving on again. Crowning the frets or recrowning the frets. Now in the olden days I'd have used a 3-cornered file like this with safe or grounded edges, and what I'd have done is I'd have gone, for instance doing the third one along, I'd have gone along the outside, and to build the crown I'd have arced the file that way onto the fret to remove the edges, and this side, if I'd gone from this side, I'd have arced the file that way and we'd have gradually rebuilt, or do it this way. We've gradually rebuilt that crown by just removing edges and just rebuilding it, but we don't have to do that anymore because I have StewMac, a Z file, and this is an amazing piece of kit. And if you look closely, you'll see it has a long cut on the side closest to you and a short cut on the other one. You turn it 180 degrees and it's the opposite, a short cut closest to you, a long one furthest away from you. And this is a diamond file, diamond encrusted, and the great thing about this is it makes 2 cuts. It'll cut that way and that way, but what it won't do is it will not hit the top of the fret. That means we're going to maintain the height of the fret. Now in the olden days we'd have just had to be very careful with the file to not slip across it, but this does it for you. Because the frets are all level, all we need to do is remove the edges, and I'm going to show you exactly how we do that. I'm going to use this file, always give it a wipe. Great piece of kit. This cost me £125 from madinter.com, which is a place in Spain. For European, if you go and buy StewMac gear from America, you have to pay import tax and stupid shipping fees. Here you still have to pay a shipping fee, but you don't pay any import tax because it's Spain. So anyway, I'm going to start with fret 3, and it's just 2, 3 or 4 swipes, turn it 180 degrees, and there you go, and we have left a beautiful line down the centre, about 1/2 mil wide, which is what we want. We'll remove material from both the sides, we'll maintain the height, and what I'll do then is I'll take my crowning file. Don't remember where I got this from, I think I got it from Tone Tech Luthier Supplies. And this is already concave, and all I'll use this for is to round off, to remove any inconsistencies and to do the bevel. So bevel, bevel, and remove any inconsistencies, and to give us that perfect crown. And that, we've still got the black line down the centre, and that is that one done. And I'm going to show you a couple more. Probably won't talk as much, I'm just going to crack on and get on with it. This method saves so much time. Always wipe after a fret. How easy is this? You'll see if you check fret 2, the line's a little bit thicker and a little bit thicker there. I made to work it just a little bit more because maybe we've just flattened that top a bit more than some other frets, but there you go. We've got a more consistent black line down the centre there. Now with that done, like I say, take the crowning file, just doing the bevel, bevel, top, bevel, bevel, top. And there you go, that's 5 done. The reason I've done 5 is this is what I like, this is the way I like to do it, and I need to find my fret rocker. The reason I do it this way is I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to go to this one and just checking the height that there's no rock, and there isn't. But what I like to do is when I've checked one, I like to check one forwards and one back, just to show that we've maintained that height, and we have maintained that height. Got no rocking anywhere. It's a foolproof way of crowning frets, and this file cost me 125 quid. I've done, how many fret levels have I done with this? 2-3 dozen? I don't know. I've done one stainless steel as well, and it's still going strong. If I only got 10 stainless steel refrets out of this, it's $12.50 per refret. It is not an expensive tool, worth getting this, definitely. Anyway, I'm going to crack on. I'm going to get the rest of them done. Once they're done, we can move on to the final stage of the fret work, which will be the polishing. So, polishing frets. Got to go across with some 400 grit just to smooth off, because don't forget we've scratched all of the frets this way by filing that way, and now we've recrowned them, but we've not touched the top, so the tops all have lines going that way from the from where we leveled them. 400 grit will basically start taking out these scratches just by going this way. Doesn't take long, just to rub over the top like so, and that's those scratches more or less removed. But it also preps the frets ready for the proper polishing, and we're going to polish with 6 other grits, 600 grit through to 2000 grit. So there you go, I have all the 6 lined up together, and it means I can just cut them all in one go. Grits are 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000, and I'll show you that in a second. Need to put some gloves on to do this, because it means you can hold the paper better. There's 2000 grit. They're all written on the back. 1500, 1200, I don't know if you can see the numbers on there, I've marked them all up. 12, 10, which equates to 1000, 8, which is 800, and 6, which is 600. So I'll line all these bits of paper up somewhere close to where I'm going to be working. I can just go across these grits left to right. I find it a lot easier to work with one glove on, because you just get a grip on the paper, it doesn't slip out of your hand. Surgical gloves I buy, non-powder coated, no powder in these, just plain glove. They are each, you can use any hand, right or left, and this just helps you to grip the paper, and it really is this simple. So we're just going to take the main scratches out with some 400 grit. This 400 grit will do, this little piece here will do the whole neck, all 24 frets. I was charged more for 24 frets, didn't I? It takes longer than 21 frets. Just kidding. This just preps them nicely. Once this is done, I'm just going over the top with these. When I get to the other grits of paper, I'll be going over the top and getting in at the corners. It's going to take me a while to get these done. This is quite quick doing this, because I'm not really getting into the corners or anything, so it's not going to take me long at all. But when I get to the main grits, I'm not gripping that paper very well. When I get to the main grits, it's going to take me a little bit longer, because I'll be getting in the corners as well. Anyway, I'm going to crack on with this. It's going to take me a while. May or may not finish it tonight. It is 7:23 PM. Might get it done tonight, I don't know, it depends how long I work. I've got 2 busy days at Royal Mail tomorrow and Saturday. Saturday was my day off, I've decided to work it this week. So I'm going to be busy at Royal Mail tomorrow and Saturday, because we were laid up. We had no work to do today because there's a flood at the main depot. We had nothing to post, so I know tomorrow's going to be a dull day. I mean, Saturday's going to be a busy day as well, so I'll get as much of this done tonight as I can, and I'll come back tomorrow and let you know how we got on. So I've been through with the 7 grits of sandpaper, just finishing off with the finest grade steel wool. It is extra fine, it's the finest grade you can get. The grade configuration or number is 0000. I've got 3 left to do, and I've already done the bevels. Once I've done the bevels, I then come across and do the whole fret, and these frets are like glass.
Like I said, I've gone through with 7 grits of sandpaper from 400 through to 2000. So the grits being 400, 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1500 and 2000. Once that's all done, we'll finish off with finest grade steel wool. I'm going over the top, come into the corners and finish back over the top. And I'm hoping the camera picks this up, but these are like glass. They are amazing. Hoping you can see that there. Is that any good to you? Anyway, look at these two. These two are still really dull. But steel wool really does the trick. It's a little bit getting a little bit dark now. It's gone 9 PM. I've put a shift in today in this workshop. In fact, I've put a shift in all week. I've been working at Raw Mail every day, bar today, till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Then I've been coming in and working in the workshop every day till about 9 o'clock. This is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth guitar I've worked on this week. It's the 4th one I've finished this week. Third one I've finished. I've started a couple of others over, but there you go. That is the frets polished and they look stunning. So that's it. That's all I'm doing for today. It's about, it's not about, it is 12 minutes past 9 PM. Going to leave the rest of it. Going to put the nut back on, peel the tape off and everything tomorrow. Now continuing where we left off, or from where we left off last night, just remove a strip of tape along the neck there, just so we can remove all the masking tape in one go. And that's why we put that strip underneath. Just makes it so much easier to remove when you finish the polishing of these frets. I don't know if you can see properly from where you are. They are amazing. They're immaculate. Always the best part of fretwork is revealing the work you've done, peeling off the tape. So a couple of things still left to do. We need to glue the nut back on. Before we do that, I'm going to oil the fingerboard. This is new tape I'm trying out. It's not as low tack as I'd like it to be. It's actually quite strong tape. There you go. We'll remove all of that residue in a little while. But that's it, all the polishing's been done. We don't need to use any more abrasives or files or sandpaper or anything, so we can remove all of this tape. Now you want to be careful when you remove this, because I've in the past bought flakes of paint off as well, especially when you're working on older guitars. So you always want to be aware that on an older guitar, flaky paint will peel off with this tape. And you always need to make the owner of the guitar aware of that fact. Otherwise you're going to be repainting something. Most people in my experience understand that and they take that risk and say, look, if it happens, it happens, blah 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 blah. And most people in general, they're not, got old guitar with a bit of flaky paint and that, and we're not going to be bothered. As long as you know beforehand though, just always cover yourself. Say, look, it's going to be difficult. I did have one guitar in once, and it had been repainted and everything, and when it came to peeling off the tape, it took a load of paint all off the side here, and the owner wasn't very happy, and I says, look, it had been resprayed, and it had been resprayed badly. Anyway, he stopped bringing guitars to me. I haven't bought me a guitar since. He was going to bring one January, but I've not seen him for a couple of years. He used to bring me a guitar a month and he stopped bringing them, and I thought, fair enough. I still stand by my work, stand by my fretwork, network. So now I always make sure that I let a client know, you know, and I also say, like, if there's going to be a bit of risk involved, like I've got some really big jobs coming up soon. One in particular, 1967 Les Paul Custom, and it is, the neck is a shambles. It is twisted and warped. And I said to him, look, there's no guarantees that I can fix this. I says, but if you want me to risk it, if anything untoward happens to the neck and it snaps when I'm trying to straighten it, I'm not responsible. And he's given me the go ahead to do the work. Now I'm pretty certain I won't snap the neck, but I'm covering myself. You've always got to cover yourself doing this job. Anyway, back to this guitar. I taped the bridge on there just so I know which way the screws go. I know which way they go now, so I can just get rid of all this tape. I'm going to leave that on there for now. I'm not putting the three-way back in just yet. But look at the guitar, looks absolutely beautiful. Fabulous looking guitar. Now, this guitar's never gigged. I'm going to talk to the owner about it. You'll be able to gig with it once I've done with it. It'll be fantastic. I guarantee that this guitar has never played better than it does now. So anyway, let's see where we are. I do have a nut somewhere. It's a graphite nut. It says graphite because they're always hollow. I would have chosen graphite for a nut myself, but because it's a compensated nut, we have no choice. So what we're going to do is just going to glue that back in as it was, so to speak, in exactly the same place. But before I do that, we're going to treat the fingerboard. These frets look amazing. Let's go there. Just cover everything up while we're spraying. Some mineral oil. You know it's lemon oil. It's not lemon oil. It's mineral oil with a hint of lemon in there just to make it smell nice. It's specially formulated mineral oil for rosewood fingerboards, rosewood, ebony, pal ferro, all that gubbins. These companies that make this stuff know what they were doing. It's why Diodario, Dunlop, PV and such names make this stuff. It's not made of lemons and it's not going to ruin your guitar. People say, oh, it'll strip your wood to pieces. Lemon oil would, but it's not lemon oil, is it? It's not. So we'll let that soak in 5-10 minutes. That's going to treat the wood. And make sure we've got none in the nut slot because I'll be super gluing the nut back in there shortly. While we're waiting about and waiting for this mineral oil to do its stuff, I'll grab the 10mm spanner. I'm just going to check the machine head nuts, make sure they're tight, and they are tight. Just ever so gently, just giving them a little tiny turn. Get so many guitars in with these loose, they're all tight, don't need any alteration whatsoever. Little things you don't normally see. Every nut, bolt, screw gets checked when you bring a guitar to me for a setup. Including the machine heads. I'll give them a turn and see what I think. If they're too loose, I was loose for starters, so we'll just give it a tighten. Can you see what I'm doing? You can't see what I'm doing. Machine heads here, that one's a little loose. Are they a flathead? Long screwdriver. They're normally a crosshead, but they're not on these today. Okay, that's a little loose. Like I say, everything gets checked and tightened. That's things all done. Let this oil soak in 10 minutes. And while that's doing that, all the little jobs I'll do, we'll just check strap pins, make sure they're in nice and tight. Yeah, that's fine. This one, tighten that one just a little bit, and that's it really. Not a lot more I can do now until the oil's done its stuff, so we're going to leave that, give it 10 minutes. I know all the electrics are working fine because I've had the guitar plugged in and I've played it. It sounds great. While I'm waiting about, I may as well get the three-way sorted. As you were. I've never found a brilliant way to tighten this. I've always gone with a long nose plier. And we're just going to make sure we're above the wood. I'm going to hold it at the back there. A good grip. Hold it at the back so it doesn't spin, and we're just going to turn it, and that's it. That's nicked up enough, and that is in. Oh, I've put it on the right way, wouldn't it? So a couple of things we can do while we're waiting. Get that back on, stick the back on there in a minute. Make sure we're working right, we're working fine. Other little things we can do, we can bring the pickups back up to height and get them close to where they want to be. Give everything a wipe. These kind of areas don't really get wiped, so give them a wipe. And this screw has gone all rusty there because it's been sweated on. A little bit of oil on my finger, just regular mineral oil, dab a bit on the top of the screw there, rub it in, and there you go, that's lubed up now. So we're not far off being done. Almost ready for getting the strings on. Strings of choice for the client are only ball slinky cobalts here. 1052 set. We're going to be going a drop D tuning, which is already in, or it was in when the guitar came. How about the plate? Sounds amazing. So we've given this a good 5 minutes. We're going to just wipe it off. What this will do is it would have raised, it would have soaked under, it's nourished the wood. It's also any gunk or grime on there will now be floating on top. We're just going to wipe it off. That's all fabulous. Right, we're just going to take a brush to the nut. Let's get rid of any dust or anything on there, anything in the slots. These slots are going to need to be recut anyway, a couple of them. So that's nice and dry. Just going to do a dry fit, make sure it goes back in the same place. Right, it can only go in the place it was at because there's bits of glue still on there, so it can only go in one place. So all we're going to do is we're going to grab some some Loctite, a couple of dobs on there. This is more of a gel than a far too much glue there. So we'll just go with a cloth. We'll soak some up. Soak some up there. That's fine. Couple of seconds. There you go, that's a nut back on. So that wasn't as gel-like as I thought it was, that glue. It's quite runny. And there you go, the nut is back on. So we're now ready for strings. Same thing with the bridge. Take a brush, get rid of all this dust. So again, this is a locking bridge. It's got Allen key holes there. We'll get that locked in place once I've got it set up. So there you go, so I'm ready to put strings back on and get it all set up. So I'm going to have 5 minutes, going to make a cup of tea. I'm going to get the strings on. So just about finishing up, got the strings back on, I've stretched them in. We've got it in tune, drop D. I've set the action at the 12th fret, I've set the relief at 0.25mm under the 5th fret. We have the intonation done, I've set the pickup height. All I really need to do now is set the height of the strings above the 1st fret. And half of them are okay, half of them need attention. So the bottom string, 52, is a little bit higher than I would like. I'd like it about 0.3mm. It's quite a bit over, so we're going to just pull it aside. We're going to take the closest nut file I've got, which is a 50. The actual string gauge is 52, so we're just going to go in. We're going to carve ever so gently, and we're just going to flare it open by going sideways slightly, just to create that little bit of extra width. It's a graphite nut. Again, check the height. Still go down a little bit more. I just want that to just starting to buzz. Aiming slightly down toward the tuner or the machine head. Again, flare open. Just small cuts. Cut too much off, you're replacing the nut. I don't even know where you'd get one of those. Good enough for me. Good enough for me there. Not 0.25. 13 and 17 could do with a little bit as well. We're going to put a file out of the way. I'll leave it out of the packet because we're going to need to clean that. Moving on, we've got a couple more to do. Going to get those done. Once that's done, we're going to finish up the video and I'm going to let the owner know he can come and collect the guitar. And here we are, all done. And what a fabulous looking guitar. You don't really come much better than this. This is a guitar you can buy for around, I think about £850. £850 for a guitar of this quality. Glued in neck, Tone Pros lock-in bridge, EMG 81, 85 pickups. Just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Made in Korea. This one, I don't know if it's still made in Korea, but what a great guitar. So let's just recap what we have done to this guitar. Well, it come in, it needed a fret level. It's had a fret level. What else have we done? I don't think we've done anything else. It has just had a fret level and a setup. And that's it. It doesn't come much easier than that. Fret level entails leveling, recrowning, polishing. Those frets look magnificent. I guarantee that this guitar has never played better than it does now. I've played the thing.
and it sounds amazing. Fantastic guitar. I would like one of these myself. Set the action, because we're on a drop D, set a regular standard standard measurements above a 12th fret. We've got 1.75mm on the bass, 1.5mm on the high E. And that's it. Relief wise, 0.25mm at the 5th fret, or 0.2-ish at the 7th fret. Well, not anything between 0.2 and 0.25 is pretty good. I like to go with a little bit more when we're playing a drop tuning. I would like to see this in drop C. I think it would probably sound a little bit better. But drop D's absolutely fine. Pickups work fine. Pickup selector all works fine. Everything's good. I've tightened every nut, bolt and screw. Give the guitar a clean. I know the client is going to be so pleased with this. All I've got to do is stick the locking strap back on, put it in its case, and let the owner know it is ready to pick up. So that is it. It is a ESP Ltd EC-1000 Deluxe, made in Korea, probably at World Music International because it's got a W serial number. Just a great looking guitar, but that is it. So before I go, remind you of my website, facebook.com/ng17, that's facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. You've also got fretfriend.co.uk. I'm Victor, I am your fret friend, and until next time, as always, God bless you, be good to each other, and I'll see you in the next one.